Sith Holocron here from the Dongers of Runeterra, and this is a guide for new players. So in our Discord, you can join for free. You'd be more than welcome. We have a merry band of amazingly good people who have literally just started playing the game, to our streamers and our better players who are all in master ranks in every single tier in between. But when you first begin this game, you see people getting a little confused with how to build decks, and they don't have an awful lot of money, or they don't want to drop real money, so they are trying their very best with maybe the decks that are pre-installed in the game, and then going through regions and earning their rewards and getting their shards and their wild cards and all that sort of stuff, trying desperately to make a deck. And all the way through beta, that's pretty much what we all did. I've been playing this game since beta and fell in love with it the first game that I played, a bit like most of the other card games that I ended up getting completely romantically involved with, and I am romantically involved with Legends of Runeterra. But there is now a term, and the term for new player decks, which is a little condescending. It's not just for new player decks. There is a term called budget decks, and budget decks are twofold. Number one, they rarely contain champions, to be honest, and the three decks I'm going to go through today don't have a single champion at all. So they're all what are known as champion-less decks. And number two, if you're not spending money on champions, which costs, what, 300 real money, they're like 3,000 shards each. If you're only making a couple of hundred at a time, you would have to be very, very specific about where you want to be. And the decks that I'm going to show you today are all primarily have Noxus in them. So my suggestion to get these three decks as quickly as possible are to go to rewards, which is over here on the left hand side in the menu, and then change your region and go through everything. So these are the only two regions I haven't actually maxed out, but go to Noxus and activate it, do what you need to do, and then all the cards you will get will be from that region. And then the other three regions in here are Bilgewater, which is our brand new region, PNZ, and my favourite of Shadow Isles. Now, I'm going to go through all of these, starting with the one that I think is the worst. So it's not probably the best one, to go right the way through to the one that I think's the best. Now, this is all completely down to playstyle. But, or shall we just go 1, 2, 3? Let's just go 1, 2, 3. I don't think that any one of these is any really better than another. They're all, for having no champions, they are incredibly solid decks. And we're going to start with this one. Let's start with this one. So, this is Bilgewater and Noxus, and it's champion-less. Now, if you have a champion, any of these would be very, very good indeed, especially Fizz or Misfortune or Draven would all be really, really good. But these decks function perfectly, perfectly well without it. So let us get into the nitty-gritty of what is going on. So Bilgewater like to plunder. They like to nab, they like to yoink, they like to take your cards. Okay? This deck doesn't want to do this. So it's actually going against what Bilgewater's prime thing is, which is I'm stealing cards from your deck to use against you cheaper, and it's very, very fun. This deck wants to do damage to not only units but the Nexus, and I will show you how this happens right now. So if you are brand new, anything 0 is real good, like really, really good. Warning Shot just immediately does 1 damage to the enemy Nexus. It's at burst speed, which means it cannot be stopped. You fire it out. If you're 1 damage away, you win for 0 mana. That is brilliant. That's why there's 3 of them in this deck. And then we have a couple of 1-drops. And the reason why this is an aggro-y sort of deck is because it not only does damage to the characters, it does damage to the Nexus, and that is how you win the game. This one does deal 1 to anything. So if, for instance, we had a Shell Shocker, 2 power, 1 health. Do that, kill it. Marvellous. Imagine having 1 mana left and you're 2 short. Oh look, if you have them, a Warning Shot and a Blade's Edge, both fast. And the burst, unstoppable. And unless somebody has got Deny, that's pretty much not going to not go to the Nexus as well. So if you're avoiding Ionia decks, remember Ionia has got Deny, which will stop your spells, and Will of Ionia, which pushes units back. But to stop spells, you need Deny. If you don't run Ionia, they can't stop them. So remember that. That's why these 2 are 3s of. However, there is a thing called Plunder. And Plunder is when you hit the enemy Nexus. And it doesn't matter if you hit it with a unit or you hit it with a spell. If you've hit it in any round you're attacking or defending, you can get a Plunder benefit in Bilgewater. And the Plunder benefit for this is this costs 1. It's 2/2. Which is a bit like Cithria the Bold in Demacia. But if you have a Warning Shot, fire it off for free, and this becomes a 3/3 for 1 mana, which is completely mad. And helps you be an aggro deck. And aggro is fantastic. And at the start of each new big patch, aggro is very, very high in the meta. So these 3 decks, after the next patch comes out, will still be relatively decent into most decks. Jagged Butcher is probably the best 1-drop in the game, period. But make sure you plunder to get the 3/3. If you can't plunder, he's still good at 2/2. But he's really good at 3/3. The Legion Rearguard is hilarious in my opinion. A unit that costs 1 mana with 3 power and only 1 health and can't block seems rubbish. And has disappeared a wee bit from the meta, but is still really good on offense. He's still a really good, decent thing to fire into the opponent, and it is really, really decent. The only other thing I could think of is if you don't want things that can't block, then something like the Precious Pet is a 2/1 fearsome, and it cannot be blocked by anything unless it has at least 3 power of its own. So that's what fearsome means. Fearsome means you cannot be blocked by the enemies with 3 or more power. So this can block, but oh look, it can't. That can't block it, that can't block it, that can't block it. So if you don't have the Legion Rearguard, replace it with Precious Pets from Noxus. Give you an example of how decks always constantly change. But it's very good because it does 3 damage over just the 2. So can't be blocked by anything less than 3 power and get 2 damage, or rush out and get 3, which is pretty good. And then we have Legion Saboteur, which I have always liked. I think this is a great little card. For 1 mana, it's a 2/1, and every time you attack, you automatically deal 1 to the Nexus. So if you're doing that and you have a Jagged Butcher in hand, don't play the Jagged Butcher. Do your thing. It automatically hits the Nexus, and then you drop the Butcher down and it's a 3/3. That's really, really good. And the final 1 cost, look at all these units at 1. That's brilliant. And that starts your curve, and we'll talk about curve in a minute. But Pull Shark, when you're summoned, you draw 1 at round start and give it Fleeting. And Fleeting is, if you don't use it in that round, that it's doing that little misty thing, it just goes away. But card draw is excellent in card games, so if you get it and it's useful, use it. Because if you don't, that's it gone forever. But a 1 with 2 health, now you're getting things out here that are a little bit more, you know, it needs 1 of these to kill it, but that's not going to kill it, you know. And then this is not as powerful as it once was, and I haven't actually updated this deck in a little while. So Crimson Disciple and Imperial Demolitionist were ruining the meta because that would do 1 to an ally to deal 2 to the enemy nexus. That's still exactly the same. But Crimson Disciple used to do, when I survive damage, deal 2 to the nexus. Now it only does 1, but the combo's still there. The only problem is you do 3 to the nexus, not 4. But it's still solid. It's still a very, very good deck. They are good cards. They're not brilliant cards anymore. They were dominating the meta, so they got nerfed in the 1.6 patch. We also have got to remember that we're in Bilge water here at the same stage. And Dreadway deckhand's excellent because you get a powder keg, and a powder keg says this: when you do a spell or a skill, and the Imperial Demolitionist is a skill, the Legion Saboteur is a skill, they do 1 extra damage. So that's really good. Like, that is really, really good. Look at this. These are all great things. These are all brilliant. But if you have put down the Dreadway deckhand, all your skills get increased by 1. And all your spells. That now becomes a 2. That now becomes a 2. It will now go asterisk, deal 2. Another asterisk to anything. That'll just take out Zed straight away with one of those. That's decent. So he's a criminally good card in this cheap, cheap deck. And then we get the Legion Grenadier, who is a 3-2. Where is he? There he's there. And he has a thing called Last Breath. And Last Breath is also in another deck that I'm going to show you. And it's, as soon as it dies, it grants you something. And it also deals 1 to the enemy nexus. But sometimes you need a little bit of extra power. And this is why this is a 1 of only, because most decks use, as you can see, 3s of everything because they're good cards. If they're good cards, you want as many of them as you can get into your 40 card deck. This is just 1. It gives an ally +3 power and Overwhelm. And Overwhelm is when you hit a unit, any additional damage after killing it hits the Nexus. There we go, we're hitting Nexus again, which is excellent. So once you get used to playing this, at the end I'll show you what are really good champions that you can save up to put in this. Noxian Fervor is an amazing spell. So you deal 3 to an ally and you pretty much kill it, because nothing in here has like more than about 3 health anyway. But then you can do 3 to anything. So again, you can hit the Nexus, you can hit a massive big unit that you're worried about killing you and losing the game with. It's just really, really good, and for 3 is a staple in nearly every single Noxus deck that goes out. And then we're left with 2 more cards. Salvage, you get rid of 2. So you toss 2 from the top of your deck and then you draw 2. And card draw in card games is 100% priceless. If you're running out of cards, or you have a bricked hand, and a bricked hand is where you have got nothing you can play, they're all just way too expensive and you can't do anything. If you get this for 4 mana, and remember the 3 dots at the bottom are spell mana. If you've got 3 of them, it's only going to take 1 of your normal mana to cast this. The top 2 disappear, you get 2 more. Really, really critical in keeping your thing as wide as possible. And by wide, we're looking for 4, 5 or 6 units to block and attack with every single round. And at these mana costs, you'll be able to do that really easily. And the last 3 cards cost 5, it's the most expensive card in the deck, but it does 4 to the enemy Nexus. Now this is a slow spell, so it can be stopped, or they can try and do something else and beat you to it. But for instance, if you have 2 of these and you've managed to get the Nexus down to like 7, at the next round, drop 1, we're now down to 3, and the next one, drop another 1, you've probably won the game. As you can see, there's an awful lot of... This is an aggro deck, so it does damage, and it does it really quickly. So, in my opinion, the best one for you to get would be either Gangplank, who, once you've damaged the enemy Nexus in 5 different rounds, levels up, and he brings out more powder kegs, and then you're hitting absolutely everything. He'd probably be the first one that I would want to get for this deck. For no other deck, I think it's really, really pretty good. Or Darius, and this is a version of the Darrowing deck. Because once it goes down to the Nexus has 10 or less health, he becomes, instead of being a 6-5, he is a 10-6 Overwhelm unit and ruins the game. But This is a budget version, so we are not running any champions, but Darius or Gangplank are very, very good to get up. Now, all the deck codes for these 3 decks will be in the pinned comment, so let's go to the next one. And the next one is a Shadow Wilds deck. And this one is predominantly, as I said earlier, a last breath deck. So when it dies, and Shadow Wilds likes to kill itself, that's what they do. It's all like spirits and ghosts and weavers and wraiths and all that sort of stuff. If something dies, you normally get a benefit. And I love that mechanic in the game. So this deck runs 3 Ravenous Butchers. To play me, kill an ally. So you just drop it over the top of an ally. Doesn't matter if you've got 1 or a whole board. You kill 1, you get that unit for 0 cost. Note the 0 cost for a 3/2. That is the same stat line as Katarina. That's exactly the same stat line as this, and that's a champion. For free, that is amazing. We then have Hapless Aristocat, which has got a last breath. So once it dies, it summons a spider, and a spider is a 1/1. Nothing else but a brilliant chump blocker, which is amazing to see. Precious Pet is a 2/1 with Fearsome. So as I spoke in the last one, nothing that doesn't have 3 power can block this. Nothing. No Fearsome unit can be blocked by a 1 or 2 power unit. So early doors, if you have one of these, it's a brilliant thing to throw out. And then Warden's Prey as a last breath. You create in hand another last breath follower that costs 3 or less from anywhere. Doesn't matter what region it is. It doesn't have to be Noxus or Shadow Wilds, which is what this deck is. That's it. That's all. You're getting another follower, but that follower can cost 3 or less. Is a brilliant card in Shadow Wilds decks because you're killing everything. And they're not, a 1/1 is rubbish. A 1/1 is rubbish. A spider 2/1 is rubbish. They die to a breeze. But that's what you want. You want things to die. And that actually aids your win condition. So then we're on to Curse Keeper. And this one you actually want to kill. Like, you want to kill this. Because once this dies, it becomes this wonderful 4/3. Which is just, hello. Now, it used to be a 4/4. But 4/3 for 2 mana and a death? Now, it can't block either. You don't care. It's never going out unless it's a 4/3. Because you're going to kill it. And the nicest way of killing it is doing it with a Ravenous Butcher. So now you've got a 3/2 and a 4/3 and off you go for 7 damage. That sounds real good to me. That sounds real good to me. So then we've got another Legion Grenadier. So when it goes, again, it's a last breath thing. It deals 1 to the Nexus and it's a 3/2. But this card, hello. Hello you. Super cheap. The green triangle means it's the cheapest cards in the game. And these are all green triangles. Look at this. Look at this. These are the cheapest things you can get. Like, they don't get any cheaper. I can't make this more budget. Glimpse Beyond is an amazing Shadow Wilds card. Phenomenal. Kill an ally and draw 2. So, if you've got this, that's okay. So that becomes a 4/3 and I get 2 cards for 2 mana. Thank you. I'll certainly have 3 of those. The Legion Grenadier is just great. But again, we're going for this whole last breath theme, and themes and synergy make decks work. So the other one is just smash, 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 smash. This is like kill, 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 and get benefits. And the benefits are bigger, faster, better units, and all of a sudden you've won. There is this as a one-off. So there's always, if you've got if you've got 40 cards and you do all 3s, you're going to end up with a 1 9 times out of 10, and this is fantastic. This is Onslaught of Shadows. You summon 2 Spectral Riders. They are both 2 each, and the minute the round ends, they die. Doesn't matter if they die in combat or they don't die in combat. They just die. They're called Ephemeral, and they just go kaboom, which is amazing. It's just really, really good. Superb on offense, really good on defense. It's only 1. When you've got it, it's still silly cheap, and you can come right back and do things again. But what's the benefit, Sith, of killing things? Hang on. We only make good decks. Miscall. Costs 3. That's quite more expensive than the other ones, but look what it says. Revive a random ally that died this round. Now, I still run this in, competitive Shadow Wilds decks, Because if I have a champion that I want to bring back, yep, you're being mist-called. I will make sure that's the only thing that dies if I have 3 mana left. And then they go, brilliant, we killed your Callista. And I go, haha, look, she's right back. Thanks. You wasted all that mana, and I still have her. And now she's full health again. Thanks. Appreciate that. Try again. Brilliant card. And it's still green triangle. This one is absolutely fantastic. And this is why you want everything to die. So let's actually make this full screen, because Prankster, oh man, Prankster is so good. Prankster is so good. So if an ally dies, that's one of your team, deal 1 to the enemy Nexus. Just like that. So once you get this down, remember that that little thing right there, when another ally dies, deal 1 to the enemy Nexus, is on every single one of your 40 cards. All of them. Where do you see the swing from damage to attack that this one card can do? He is phenomenal. He is probably the MVP in this deck. By miles. He wins you the game. You keep him, you get him out as quick as possible. You know, that is 2 damage to their Nexus as soon as they explode. If you can get damage in with them, that's a bonus. If you're glimpsing, it's damage. Everything is damage, including this other Godzilla called the Ancient Crocodile that costs 4, and you have to kill 2 allies. Can you imagine having like 6 mana at round 4, and the first thing that you do is you play Onslaught of Shadows and you already have a Prankster out? So just get this idea into your head. On round 3 you've played this, okay, and you've 2 mana left. You end the turn. You now have 4 mana and 2 spell mana. The first thing you do is do that for 2 Spectral Riders, and then you kill them with this, which means you do 2 damage to their Nexus, and you get a 7/7 unit that is a disaster for your opponent to play around. It is absolutely bonkersly horrible. That is a big unit. That is bigger. Look at this. You look all around here. There is nothing. Not Darius, not Hecarim. There is nothing that is 7/7. This costs 4. One of the very, very better cards. Now, these 2 are common, so they will cost you a little bit more than all the rest will. Okay? But they win you the game. And this is still really, really ridiculously good. As is the Chronicler of Ruin. Now she, and I know, I mean, she's not got the best looking face, to be honest. Good face for radio. Good face for Shadow Isles, but not a, you know, not somebody you want to take home and introduce to your mum. Kill an ally. Oh look, kill something. But this time you revive it. Now, what should we kill? Well, killing that, if it's been hit by a Mystic Shot and is 0/1 and about to die, drop that, you know, drop this over it, and then it becomes another 0/3 again. You can even use it to block. And what do you get out of it? You get another 3/3, which is pretty damn good. So if you've got something that you want to stay alive, and the only thing you really want to stay alive is the Ancient Crocodile or the Prankster, and the end card. The end card's pretty good too. That's what you drop it on. You don't care about anything else. But if you can, and you have one of these, for some reason it hasn't become the 4/3, that's the other one that you drop. And that leaves us with 3 more cards. Which is the Ethereal Remitter. Again, slightly more expensive, but certainly not the most expensive cards in the deck. So I don't even think we have got... Is this one? No. So the Ethereal Remitter is kill an ally to summon a random follower that costs 2 more. So you play this on 5. You could kill this. Like, you just could. And now you're getting a 6 cost follower from any region Who knows? But you kill it and get a 6 cost. And 6 costs down here, let me just show you within here, and this is just here, you can get a Minotaur, which is a 6/6, a Battering Ram that as soon as you attack is Overwhelm and goes 4/12, a 6/6 and stun all damaged enemies. This can't be hit with unless you've got a 5 power, so essentially if you're not playing against Freljord, that's unstoppable, and it's a 6/5. You're getting something like that by killing the 4. Just really good. Just really, 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 really good. I really like the Ethereal Remitter. Probably be the one that you're kind of trying to figure out which to kill. And the short version is kill the one that maximizes the actual play thing. So you get 2 more. If you were to kill a Curse Keeper, you'll get a 4 cost. And 4 costs are still pretty good. You can get like a crowd favorite, a Shazara, a Crimson Awakener, a Wraith Caller. You know, you're still getting something pretty good. And then the last one is awesome. So this is Scuttlegeist. This is a 5/5 fearsome. It costs 10, but it doesn't, because in Shadow Wilds you've probably killed about, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 of your units. So for each ally that's died in the game, you reduce its cost by 1. So you're normally playing this at about 2 or 3 mana. You know, that's a prankster. Kill, 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 kill. Get massive things out cheaper. Get things cheaper. Get things cheaper. The prankster is just amazing. Off you go. That's a Shadow Wilds budget deck. And the last deck is pretty much the Noxus burn deck. So this is pretty much the Darrowing deck that has Darius in it. By the way, in this one, what you really, really want is either Callista or Thresh. Because if you've seen 6 units either side, it levels up. And when it levels up, you bring another champion, which can be himself. Which is amazing, because he's a 3/6 challenger and is a 4/7 when he goes. Or see 3 of your own allies die. Let me take that out because that's not going into it. Once this levels up, it brings out an ephemeral copy of the Strongest Dead allied follower, and it's bonded, and bonded means that if you smash Callista with a unit, it actually goes into the bonded unit, and Callista is practically impossible to kill. So there you go, that's the 2 that I would choose from Shadow Wilds. And the last one is pretty much the Darrowing deck without Darius. So this one is predominantly based around Noxus. There's only 6 cards that are from P&Z, and those are the Boom Crew Rookie and the Academy Prodigy, but we'll get to that. We've talked about Legion Rearguard, Saboteur, Pet all before. The Prodigy is a quick attack 3/1, which is really decent for 2 mana. Quick attack means it fires in first. So if we're up against Ezreal, she would do her 3 attack and kill him before he even gets a chance to do anything. Okay, but you know, not really going to do anything. But if Katrina was out blocking and you're on an attack, the Prodigy is brilliant. Boom Crew Rookie is brilliant. You attack and you do 2 to the enemy Nexus. Again, this is a big aggro deck. Do as much stuff as you can possibly do to the Nexus as quickly as possible. Brothers Bond is a fantastic spell for 2. You give 2 allies plus 2 power. Well, goodbye whoever has just decided it's stupid enough to defend against something. So if you get out, I don't know, let me see, you've got 2/1 fearsomes. There's a 3/1 or a 3/2. You put this in for 2, you put the 2 of them out, bang, they're both dead, you've still got a unit. Fantastic. And it's burst, which means it can't be stopped. Legion Grenadier we've talked about. This is a cracking little card for 1. It's a 5 power unit for 2. No, it can't block. That's what the little, you know, that's what the little shield with an X in it means. Can't block, but my god, is it good for taking out anything. Doesn't matter if it's elusive. You can just pull it and kill it. It kills nearly every single champion in the game. It's phenomenal. You have to probably let them attack you first and then you drop it down, but my god, they are going to take this out as quickly as they can, because they don't want to lose their driving, they don't want to lose any of their champions or their big unit. It's just not happening. The Trifarian Hopeful is really, really good as well. So, I mean, this is our one cost card, but as you can see, things are all green triangles, green triangles, green triangles. These are budget decks. They will not cost you too much to even build all three of them. And as you can see, there's crossovers as well, which is why we all kept it around it like a small Nexus build. But it's not all Noxus. That's the whole point. That's why we put him with other regions, because they kind of symbolize really well together. He's cool. Someone grant me a +2 if you have another Noxus ally. And an ally is just somebody you've got out on the board. And apart from these two, every other thing out here is from Noxus. So the chances are he's not going to be a 3/2. Chances are he's going to be a 5/2. And a 5/2 unit for 2 mana is amazingly overstated. Super overstated. Completely OP and brilliant. Phenomenal at attacking. Phenomenal at defending. That's why he's got that great big axe. Arachnoid Sentry is brilliant. He's a 3/2 spider, and as soon as you play it, you stun any enemy you want. Oh, look, you have a Katarina about to attack. No, you don't. That's you out of this round. Bye. Bye. Thanks for playing. That's real cool. Great unit. Just a really, really great unit for 3. It's solid. Might, again, 3 plus an Overwhelm this round. We talked about it before. The Trifarian is utterly bonkers. Now, this, again, it can't block. It's a bit like the Trifarian Glory Seeker. So all these, this is like the Trifarian Noxus deck. This can't block either, but my god, it's a 5/4. It lives, and then it goes out again and kills more stuff, and if, you know, they're stupid enough to let it go through, it's huge amounts of damage. Allegiance is the top card, the same as whatever this one is. This is a Noxus card. You want it to be Noxus. There's only a 6 in 40 chance that it won't be. If you get some in your hand, keep them. That reduces it again, and he becomes a 5/4 with Overwhelm. Even if it doesn't, for 4 mana, it's awesome. It's one of the best cards in the game. My god, it was actually a 5/4 and then they made it a 6/4, so they had to turn it down in the patch. So these are things that aren't quite so good as they were pre-patch, but are still super solid. And the last one's to Decimate. 4 to the enemy Nexus can win you the game. Guys, that is 3 budget decks from the Dongers of Runeterra. Let me know what you think. Pin comments. That's where all the deck codes will be. And until the next time, guys, give us a wee thumbs up. That's always appreciated. Or a subscription. And Dongers out.